I thought I was going to love commanders in Civ 7, but I've played a few games now, and you know what? I hate them. Like a lot of Civ 7, commanders are a great idea where there's just so much more that could have been done and just wasn't. So here I go in what will likely be a series where Husky fixes everything wrong with Civ 7. Welcome to Civilization Stories, where we share alternatives to history through the lens of the world's most addictive video game. At the moment, commanders have two things going for them. The first is that they gain promotions and give buffs to surrounding units. That's not all that different to a great general in Civ 6. The second is that they can use their extra movement speed to carry military units across the map to then deploy where they are needed. It sounds awesome, but it sucks. And what ends up happening in the campaigns that I've played is that I just end up moving the commander around like he's any other unit. I guess what I'm hoping for is that a modder comes up with a way to enhance how commanders get used in the game, or preferably, folks at Firaxis find their way to this video and make a few changes. Of course, folks out there who see this should also use their noodles to come up with some other ways to improve the design. So let's get commanders in the game working in a way that's intuitive for players. As I see it, there are three major problems with commanders. First, assembling an army for a commander to lead is a pain in the ass. I find myself reluctant to deploy armies once they are assembled because I know that I'll just have to assemble it again. Second, deploying an army is awful. Nuances in terrain inhibit armies from deploying in a sensible way, and when I do deploy an army with no choice in how it gets deployed, I often have an archer deploying face to face with an enemy cavalry. Yay! Third, once my army is deployed and I attack an enemy with my lead unit, if he is victorious, he leaves the zone of control of my commander. So if he subsequently gets attacked, my commander loses out on XP. I feel weird almost having to say this because the fixes here are so obvious. I also feel a bit icky that right now I'm playing this game with things as they are. So here are some solutions. To start, a fresh commander has 4 slots for units and you can put any type of unit in. Can we have some kind of order when it comes to assembling armies? For God's sake, I can handle that some units will be led by commanders and some won't. Totally fine. So how about assigning units to a commander? And let's have intuitive formations that you can control in the commander's panel. So when the green tile deployment comes up, you know where each unit will be deployed. The maximum slots that a commander can have right now is 6. I think this should be increased to 7 through buffs, promotions, and/or leader attributes or bonuses or whatever. What I propose is that each tile in the commander's radius be given a strategic location that you can assign units to. For example, the tile right in front of the commander in the direction they are facing, or the front of deployment, we can call the point or scout position. The tiles to the left and right of point we can call the left and right flank. The tile occupied by the commander can be called escort. The tiles behind the escort tile to the left and right of the commander can be called the left and right reserve positions respectively, while the tile directly behind the commander can be called the rear guard. An ideal military formation, assuming all slots are occupied, then might have an infantry unit on point, cavalry occupying the flanks, ranged units in reserve, and infantry as the rear guard, with siegecraft in the escort position. But you can come up with any combination you like. Naturally, the idea here is that every time you deploy your army, each unit occupies the correct position. If there is a terrain barrier preventing deployment, then a simple shift in the commander's deployment screen can allow players to adjust their units so that all can deploy and can deploy in a way that makes sense. This would also solve problem number 2. Units that have been assigned to a commander are assigned to that commander even if they step outside of the commander's radius, within reason. So, if a unit strays too far from its commander when deployed for a major battle, players can receive a warning that it is out of position. A player could then bring the unit back into formation, release the unit from command, or even replace it with another nearby unit. This would solve the third problem. It would make sense, too, that commanders only earn experience from units that are assigned to it. I can't tell you how many times I've deployed an army and then attacked units a couple of tiles outside of the commander's zone of control and lost out on XP because I didn't first move the commander. Or how many times I've exploited the fact that you can double dip the XP from a unit that is inside the zone of control of 2 commanders. Once a unit is assigned to a commander, it should be a part of that army until the unit is killed or replaced by another unit. As it stands, if a unit is out of movement points, even if the commander still has movement points remaining, the unit cannot reassemble with the commander. It means that players have to wait another turn before they can reassemble the army. My 2 cents, if a commander has any movement points left, it should be able to assemble the units assigned to it that don't. Or that is an easy promotion slot for one of the promotion trees. All of this would solve the assembly and deployment problems that the game currently faces, making commanders as disappointing as they currently are. I also think that there should be 2 movement options for commanders that have assembled armies. The first should function exactly as it does now, where, depending on the terrain and the age, the commander gets, say, 6 movement. But commanders in the armies should also be able to move in formation, and let's say, in so doing, they move only 5 or 4 tiles, sacrificing some speed but staying in formation. You could even have a commander promotion that allows them to keep formation when traveling through terrain barriers like mountains. Sure, there can still be pitfalls for mismanagement if you want. Like, what if your army walks past an unassigned unit while traveling in formation? Well, it could push it out of the way, forcing it to expend its own movement points, or into an enemy unit taking excessive damage. You could even be prevented from deploying at all if you walk your commander right up against an enemy unit. Or you could have a promotion whereby you are able to march your commander right up to the enemy unit, deploy it, and push it back. The AI could also make better use of its commanders with these tweaks because, as it stands, I've played a few games where the AI has commanders flying into battle with no units nearby, making them cannon fodder. I've also seen units fighting without any commanders, meaning the AI is also losing out on important experience. I'm pretty sure I have yet to see an AI commander with more than a couple of promotions. Overall, I think a lot more of the effort and strategy should go into assembling an army for the first time. After that, they should be much easier and flexible to use in battle, reinforce when needed, and move about the map. But this is all tip of the iceberg stuff about how to improve Civ 7. I'm curious about how you feel about commanders in Civ 7 so far. Am I way off base? Did Firaxis get it perfect straight out of the gate? Do you have your own ideas about how to improve commanders in combat in Civ 7? Let me know in the comments. And remember to keep playing and making your own civilization stories, your own amazing path through history, and I'll see you next time.